Today we are going to learn about the Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Or at the beginning of the 17th century CE, most of the territory in Maharashtra was under control of Nizam Shah and Adil Shah of Bijapur. The Mughals had entered Khandesh. Their objective was to expand their power in the south. There were settlements of Siddhi people who had come from Africa along the coastline of Konkan. The competition and conflict amongst the Portuguese, the British, the French, and the Dutch who had come from Europe was getting intense during the period. Competition amongst them to capture the markets for trade. The Portuguese had already established their rule in Goa and Vasai on the western coastline. The British, the Dutch, and the French had found an entry through the medium of trading companions by setting up factories. All these powers assessed the strength of other powers, kept themselves safe and tired to dominate as much as possible. This conflict had created instability and insecurity in Maharashtra. These different people from Europe were called Thapar on the basis of their customary headgear. It is necessary to get acquainted with the village Manuja, Kasba, and Pargana to understand the nature of their customary headgear. Settlement in that period, as also of the officers that form a link between the rulers and their subjects, and also the markets and the craftsmen. Pargana was made up of many villages. Generally, the headquarters of a Pargana was called Kasba. A village smaller than a Kasba was called Manuja. Let us get acquainted in brief with village, Kasba, and Pargana respectively. Village. Most of the people lived in villages. A village was also called Manuja. The chief of the village was the Patil. He used to try to bring maximum land under cultivation. When there was any dispute in the village, the Patil resolved it and made peace. A Kulkarni helped the Patil in his work. The Kulkarni kept the record of the revenue that was collected by the people. They had hereditary rights regarding their occupation. The peasants gave a share of their agricultural produce to the artisans for the services they rendered to the village community. This share was known as Baluta. Kasba. A kasbah was like a big village. It was usually the headquarters of a pargana, that is Indapur Kasbah or Indapur Pargana, Vai Kasbah or Vai Pargana. Where the headquarters of those parganas, agriculture was the main occupation. There were skilled artisans like carpenters, blacksmith, etc. in a kasbah. There was usually a market adjacent to a kasbah. The Sheti and Mahajan were the Watandars of the pet. Every village did not necessarily have a pet. The setting up of a pet was the job. For that, they received some land from the government and some rights from the villagers. The Mahajan maintained the account of the many villages together made a pargana. Pargana was a big, it considered of 290 villages. There were 64 villages in the Chakan Pargana. The Shirwal Pargana was small. It had only 40 villages. The Deshmukh and the Deshpande were the Watandar officers of the Pargana. The Deshmukh was the chief of the Patils in a Pargana. The Deshmukh did at the Pargana level and the Patil did at the village level. The Deshpande was the chief of all Kulkarnis in the Pargana. The Deshpande did at the Pargana level the work that Kulkarnis did at the village level. These Watandar officers were the link between the people and the government in case of enemy invasion of drought. These Watandars.